Game number one, everybody. KG against CE as we're heading into our first map of this particular round. So now, just to sum up again where we currently are in the tournament. We're currently down to the final 8 teams. And at this point, they're all playing a group stage with one group with 8 teams and a round robin. It's all best of 2s. No best of 3s, and it just comes down to the ranking. So every single map is a point, and the top 4 teams at the end of that round robin, they will advance to the final bracket that we have, and the bottom 4 are going to be eliminated. Now, important with that setup is that Boluo actually lost their first best of 2 without taking a single map. I mean, lost best of 2, single map 2. So they're currently 0-2 when it comes to that, which is quite unfortunate for them. So they need someone else to struggle a bit. There's definitely 5 teams currently that are the favorite when we're looking at that group stage, and that is CE, The One, SPT, Boluo, and BTG. Those are the 5 top teams. Interesting part is that The One actually also lost 1 map against their opponent that they played against, their first one. Now all of this has just now started. But CE, if they would drop a map against KG or maybe even lose the entire thing, for Boluo that would already be pretty good. So if you think about it, looking at the top 5 teams, Boluo has to at least beat out one of them in order to make it into those final rounds. But it's really important also that you end up high in the seeding, because the higher you land in the seeding, the less games you will have to play then later on. Now, as we're going into our first game right over here, CE of course fields also 3 Korean players. We have a bit of a stepped up production here from the Chinese, as you can tell. Customized draft screen that we have for them right now. I still want to highlight that I don't have any control over what we are showing on screen, so I can't actually choose the user interface, for example, the observer UI, which means that we don't have any access to stack talents that I can show you or the stats themselves. And obviously there's also going to be an observer from the Chinese part that deals with this. And since this is a clean feed, I also don't have an influence on the quality of the stream itself. You might realize that it's a little bit lower FPS than my usual streams for any of the other tournaments, which is simply because the source material is lower than what we're usually using here. So Rexa gets banned again. We see a lot of that recently. On the off lane, he is a menace, and depending on the map, he can of course get added value. We saw that in the series with Boluo earlier, where he dominated the Dragonshire top lane. Now a Nubarak picked first for CE, and a Dehaka for the global value immediately picked here together with Reyna. Now KG is an interesting team. They have definitely played a bit of an interesting style recently, and they were pretty fun to watch, honestly. They were really aggressive. They weren't intimidated by their opponent, which was impressive in itself, because they're going up against former pro players that still play on a very high level, while they themselves haven't made that splash in the Chinese scene up to that point. But let's see if they can actually take a map of CE here. CE is definitely one of the top dogs in the tournament currently, especially since they of course have 3 Koreans in the lineup. Now with the Nubarak, we have Malfurion picked and also Hanzo, which means that after a Nubarak burrow charge, you're going to see the second stun coming through with him, and also the roots from Malfurion on the ground. Phoenix gets banned out as well with the slows that we have there. And what are we going to see taken away by CE? They could definitely target the front line right now. Diablo gets banned out. Sometimes you have to ban against Garrosh when you play Nubarak to make sure that you can play more aggressively. If you borrow charge in against a Garrosh player and he throws you deeper into the opponent's team, you're going to be in trouble. So in this case, they are making sure that Diablo is not going to be part of this. And let's see, double pick here for KG. I still want to have a little bit more burst damage on their end too, but I'm curious to see what their frontliner is going to be. What main tank they're going to end up with in this game now. I'm actually hesitating a little bit with this too. Oh, Lucio. I said it in a series before, and I say it again. The support meta in China is wild. Very wild. And Lucio, like, I don't know. We've seen him multiple times now, and it doesn't seem like he's a real boy yet. He needs a little bit more Blizzard tweaking and Blizzard love if he finally wants to upgrade there. So far, he's still that oversized lane minion that tries to have an impact, but really doesn't. At least that's what we are seeing most of the time. Maybe this game is going to change, and we're going to find out. First of all, we're having Imperius and Genji taken on the other side from CE. And now we're going straight in for the last pick in draft number 1. KG. What are they going to end up with? They have ETC now, together with Dehaka. They have Lucio here for quicker rotations too. Highly doubt that we're going to see high 5 again so far every single time when we've seen Lucio played after the big patch. it was actually still with Sound Barrier as his level 10 ability. And here comes Sylvanas, popular in China, popular by KG. And with that, we're heading into game number 1, ladies and gentlemen. CE going up against KG here in the best of 2 series. Game number 1, everybody. The best of 2 series. And yeah, Lucio, let's see what he can pull off in the game now. And of course also, I want to see if we're going to get those insane stun actions on the side of CE in this game right now. I love Imperius. I think he's a super fun hero to watch. I love those lunges. I love those stun connects. And the follow-up is definitely there on the side of CE. So yep, it's going to be a big one. And Lucio, is he finally going to get a little bit of value there? That's the main question. I think right at the beginning, when Lucio was reworked, we had in the amateur scene, in Division 1 of Heroes Launch, a series where Lucio was actually picked in every single one of the games, and he won 2 out of the 3 games that were played there. Since then, I haven't seen Lucio win a single map. Not once. So, very... I want to say mixed results, but yeah... We have seen Divine Vendetta and Division S play a couple of times, and they couldn't really make it work there. Maybe in this case it's different. There's definitely a couple of rotational strategies that you can play where Lucio gets value, but just generally speaking, there are still much better options out there. But I mentioned it in the draft, and I'm happy to say it again, Chinese meta can be a little bit funky, and especially the support meta is all over the place. I mean, we've seen a bunch of Orioles being picked before. We've seen Bright being in a game. We have Lucio every now and then here. I've seen first pick Alex Strazas now on Volskaya Foundry. Which is definitely a map where, because of the way the objective works, she can with the Dragon Queen and also her healing abilities gain a bit of added value. But as a first pick, that seems like a massive priority overreach there. Especially when you consider that in other regions, especially Europe, for example, where we have currently still a thriving competitive scene, we don't see Alex Straza even recognized at all on this map. So it's definitely interesting. It's one where the main appeal comes from looking at different regions because they have different styles, different metas. And yeah, that's what's happening there. For now, when we're looking at this setup though, we already have CE starting things up with a bit of an aggressive play for the Dragonite. And yeah, keep in mind they are definitely the favorite here, and they're trying to make the play for the bot lane. And Jimmy. Oh. I don't know, I can't help myself. Every single time I see a Genji die in that fashion where he just jumps in, didn't get the reset, or can't jump out in time, it just makes me happy a little bit. So yeah, the kill against Reyna as he just gets caught by the edge of the roots from Malfurion, and then the counter kill against Genji as he falls. Pretty typical setup there. But we have now level 4 abilities for both of the teams, and compared to our last game on Dragonshire, this is definitely a map where the top lane is a little bit more competitive, since there's no Rexa that can easily hold the shrine and take lane experience. We have still on the side of Sylvanas, of course, the ability to push. Not going for the unfurling shadows here this time, but there's the lunge, there's the body blocks, reset. Oh, can he get the value? No. Malf goes down at the bottom of the map. And that's what I said earlier. It's one of the things I really like about KG. They are very aggressive. They like that style. They like to just go and brawl. They're saying, well, we don't really care who we're up against. We're going to do our thing, and either you're better at it or we are. But no matter who we are up against, we're not going to be intimidated. I enjoy that quite a bit. So they have the 2 kills already against 1. And at the same time, now Lufool with the check at the bottom of the map. To see what's happening around there. Gonda jumps in, so does Reset. Or Gonda's about to jump in. Reset has already done that. And Gonda takes aim at Reyna. They're about to take it away. ETC is still there and gets out. But the camp is still taken by the Chinese-Korean team. Reset, hide the entire bunch down here at the bottom with the exception of Imperius, who of course still holds the top lane against Dehaka. But now again the threat of another Dragonite, or of the first Dragonite of the game, as CE is really starting to turn up the heat here. So yep, there comes the attempt for Sylvanas, but Gonda actually misses the connect here. They're trying to go for the next setup, but a 3-man is already attempting to chase down Genji for a moment. Lucio is moving in. And Gonda is nearly getting the channel through, but of course with 3 heroes being around, he's not quite able to move in just yet. On the other hand, that's a killer. Sylvanas gets locked down by Nuburak, and Malfurion's root is right behind that. Good job by Hyde, laying down the lawn. To the top, Imperius starting to still threaten the Haga. Of course, as long as he has the top lane right now, they're really starting the first to threaten the first Dragon Knight. Gonda is very much so alone at the bottom of the map though, and with Lucio allowing for the quick rotations, Schiff is in a position to push him out. But the team is there immediately, so they're all jumping back down here right away. Yeah, I like that KG is aggressive, but CE again, I mean, if I was a betting man, this would definitely be the team that I would vote for. And I would be shocked if CE doesn't make it into the top 4, to be honest with you. I mean, you have 3 Korean players on your lineup, so that should be a thing. But it's a pretty competitive group that we have now. There's of course a couple of teams that you would expect to be a little bit farther down in the standings, but we have 5 top teams in that group. Jimmy went down at the bottom of the map as a Nuburak, and Hanzo took aim here. But they are fighting for the next one, and already we're having an entire level lead. 1 level ahead. Jumping into the middle here. Gonda is a bit low, but still able to zone them out for now. Sylvanas is trying to go for the interrupt and gets the first one, but with Hyde being present, they're now not only zoning everybody out, but they're also creating the space for the Dragon Knight to be taken and move in immediately to break through the wall in the middle. And they're also closing in on level 10. So with level 10 being ready, they can just start diving forts, try and get a few additional kills in. Mid lane has already been more or less melted down, which moves Khaldor now down to the bottom of the map to try and get a bit more there too. Genji is up at the top. Hanzo with the arrow, armament on Imperius, X-Strike on Genji. Obviously, Nuburak with the cocoon. Have actually seen 1 Locust Swarm game in this tournament. We had one. We had one with... Well, I think it was in Gold League. I mean, there's so much Heroes of the Storm competitions happening right now that I'm occasionally losing track. But we had a game where there was actually a Nuburak and Mal'Ganis composition with Locust Swarm and the Carrion Swarm there. It's very, very interesting. The Haka is also looking at interesting times because he gets locked down and goes down as we have the 10s being put to good use. Lucio is dead, still wishing that he was a real boy. Goes down, and Unicorn is following too. Yeah, that's CE, and that is the power of level 10 abilities. And with a Nuburak, you can dive these structures. You can just simply create beetle after beetle after beetle. It's one of the reasons why we see Legion of Beetles occasionally taken as the level 1 talent too. There's a few more that play a role there, of course, but the ability to dive B underneath a fort and really invade those is definitely one argument in favor of that hero and that talent. So now, with 6 kills against 2 and an incredible lead already, we have at least 10s on both sides, which allows KG, of course, to try and set maybe that mosh pit up. Again, no high 5. Honestly, at this point, don't think I'm ever going to see that talent in any high-level play. As I mentioned before, this is now game 7 that I've seen with Lucio, I think, after the big rework. And he's basically lost pretty much everything, at least on the higher level of play. And not once has high 5 been picked. Yeah, instead we're seeing the map painted red by the red team, by C, taking as many camps as they can. Bot lane is now open up too, so you could actually make a play for the Bruiser camp there as well if you wanted to. They took it earlier, stole it away from KG, and Hanzo is already moving in for it. Going already straight in for it to try and check out if they can maybe get a bit more pressure onto the lane. With 2 levels ahead and a level 13 talent in their hands, obviously the idea is also to take the next Dragon Knight again. And they're taking another kill, or they're trying to. They're going for the Haka, but already the cavalry is here. In this case, even without Tracer. Sylvanas wants to be aggressive. There's an isolation and reset. Okay, gets away. But that got close for a moment. Even committing to the X-Strike since he's well aware that everybody else is chasing him. And with Lucio, they might just get that done. No, there's the mosh pit, and that's hashtag worth it right there. The arrow comes in, but it's a bit too late. There's the root follower up, but it's just too late to save Nuburak. That was nicely done. And ETC didn't hesitate. ETC just went immediately and said, okay, mosh pit, single kill, yep, hashtag worth it. We're behind, we need those kills. Underdog bonus helps us to catch up a little bit. Sylvanas in the meantime is taking care of the bottom of the map, as she's trying to make sure that those 2 camps are not getting too much value. There's also the setup now, with the ult being committed to by Lucio, so he went for the sound barrier to keep everybody in play, but CE still has the entire level lead. They have a talent advantage, and they're trying to threaten that additional Dragonite. But ETC has moved down to the bottom of the map to thwart those attempts for now. Has taken the control. Sylvanas finally also done with the push out at the bot lane. And they have 5-on-5 on the map. I mean, if they can delay it a little bit longer, they will have level 13. And that's exactly what they're trying to do, just buy some time. The problem is that Dehaka this time is really alone. But Hanzo falls at the bottom. Okay. Dehaka is still trying to get away, and he actually escapes. So we're seeing an added kill for KG, whereas CE is still starting to... I mean, I don't really want to say they're falling behind or anything, but it's close. It's getting a lot close. He missed the isolation, but well, the extract didn't do anything either. Problem is that Reyna is now down. He might not have been the intended target at the beginning of the fight, but he was definitely the first one to fall there. Now they're getting the setup against ETC again, and he's about to die. Is he? Oh, it's close. He's actually still alive, but that allows them to drive that forward again. It's actually pretty nice. I mean, like, they're starting to jump in really aggressively, and CE is still holding on to the experience advantage. They're getting a few of the kills. But as I said before, KG gets the counter kills. I mean, the kill against Hanzo was definitely worth it quite a bit for them. The problem is that experience is... yeah. Let's just say it's an issue. 2 levels behind. It's getting a bit tougher. Once that the 16 is in particular, I mean... it's going to be rough. And another Dragonite is very likely even going to get a... yeah, could get a keep here. We're 11 minutes in. But yeah, top lane. That's why we have Genji jumping straight in, using that mobility against Dehaka. And down he goes. And they are setting everything up for a second kill. Sylvanas is in the cocoon. Lucio is coming for a little bit of help. But I don't really think that's going to matter. Sylph might get away, but yeah, scratch that. She's down, and reset is this time not going for Lucio. He should have gotten the reset there on the kill, right? Or did he not properly hit that? I think he might just not have been enough. But yeah, so with that said, 9 kills against 4. 16 against 14. And with the epicenter, another lockdown against Unicorn. But they can't really follow into the choke point too aggressively, because there's still the mosh pit to consider. But obviously it's enough to buy them the time to get the Dragonite. And now we're already moving down to the bottom of the map, which is what I just talked about, keep. CE wants a keep right now. They're looking at this and they're saying, alright, let's get the keep right away. Make sure that we're going to get it. And then the catapult pressure at the bot lane. Now, keep in mind, CE is a team that will try and see if they can get even a little bit more out of this and maybe end the game. And we're back in, and the DK is already starting to work on their keep, and nearly has that completed. Whatever the pause was for, problem seems to have been resolved, but as I was about to say, the Dragonite might even go for game, and that's exactly what CE is aiming for. They're looking for the kills, and they're looking to end this. At 12 minutes in, and they are eager to take that game as quickly as they can, take that 2-0. I'm not quite sure if they can completely drop that core, but even them just... oh my god, they get ETC. ETC is down, and that actually might just be the end of it completely. I think there was a chance for KG to defend, but right now things are tough. First of all, Sylvanas is already cocooned, and the core goes down as we have KG losing game number 1 to CE as the Chinese-Korean team takes the lead in the best of 3. Game number 2, everyone. CE against KG, and we are on Battlefield of Eternity as our second map. It's honestly interesting. We're actually getting a lot of Battlefield of Eternity. It feels like every single series that we have includes BOE, and this time Maiev gets banned out right away. It's a really brawly map, and it feels like this is right down the alley of most of the Chinese players, what they want from the game, what they also like expect. It's like this brawly style where you just fight consistently. So we're gonna have a look at if KG is able to get a win in here. But again, CE is obviously the favorite. As we are heading into this 8-player group, or sorry, this 8-team group, CE is one of the top 5 teams. And it's definitely one of the teams that you would expect to make it into the final round, to end up in the top 4. And probably plays pretty high within those top 4 as well. So Ana banned out as KG is having the next ban in, and that is Genji that gets eliminated here. No more resets for reset at this point. Also, in terms of strategies, I still want to see if KG has maybe something up their sleeves here. The interesting part for me is also that KG actually goes for first pick, first ban. I honestly expected a lot of those underdog teams to go for map choice after they lose the initial one, just because I would think that in a best of 2 you would have a map or so where you have a bit of a unorthodox strategy prepared to try and throw a curveball to your opponent, but they are playing pretty much just super safe here. Early commitment to Rexa. Rexa is not really too common as an early pick or as a pick in general on Battlefield of Eternity in Europe. Now the hero itself obviously finds a lot of value these days. You play on Braxis, you play on Dragonshire, you play on Volskaya, and you pretty much will see Rexa either banned or picked. But in this case, KG commits extremely early to the hero on BOE, as we're having CE with a start on Tyrande and Hanzo, and that obviously gives you insane potential on the Immortal right away. You have Hunter's Mark, you have Hanzo, and those 2 alone can already drop that Immortal within seconds. If they commit even more to that, you can just chase it down whenever. There's Reyna again, and Reyna in China has played on this map with Exterminator a lot. There's also Malfurion coming in with that. Good follow-up after any kind of Sun setup, no matter what you're getting here. So yeah, we're probably going to see that around Misha and Gage. Could obviously see that on the main tank then too. And talking main tanks, Dibble's banned out. Garrosh is still up. So is Jojo. KG definitely changes their setup a little bit. After looking at game 1 and their own strategy, they're like, okay guys, we tried this, didn't quite work out. Maybe in game number 2 we're actually drafting a support. Seems to be a good idea to have a support in the game. Most of the teams that are so far winning have a support. So let's play with one this time too. And now they choose Malfurion. So it's not going to be quite as much of a party for them on their end, but might be a bit more successful there. And follow up, there's Imperius again. Good stun from Tyrande, stun from Imperius. Garrosh coming in. Whew! It's getting a little bit nasty here. It's pretty sick setup actually already. Pretty good one for sure. A lot of combo potential. A lot of CC that they have. Last pick on the other hand. Damage, you need a little bit more. But first of all, we have KG. And KG comes in with Liming. Great poke from that end. I like it. And Johanna at the front line. Okay, so Jojo and Liming. Definitely a decent lineup for them. Heroes, I expect Exterminator. It just seems to be a Chinese thing to pick Jimmy on the map, go for Exterminator and try and get more mortal pressure in. But of course, Liming alone already does a lot there, where she can continuously poke. Oftentimes even for the adjustment with the Charge Blast on level 4. And there's Thrall. Thrall on the last pick for CE. Ladies and gentlemen, CE is in the lead. Let's see if they can get a 2-0 in the best of 2, or if KG gets at least 1 point in this match. Game on, everyone. Heading into our second game. Okay, so at this point, we're actually having, again, Exterminator taken for Jimmy. Again, China. It's just like what they like to do. Where's my Crash Lightning? Where's the Trash Lightning choice for Thrall? You have an Imperius that can run the offlane. Thrall can be part of the 4-man rotation. You have also Misha on the other side. It just screams stacks. It's a bit unfortunate that we can't follow the stack progress if he goes for it. And there it is, the talent choice has been made. Thrall with the Trash Lightning, as he should. It's still the best map for the talent. If you have a setup with 3 melees and 1 offlaner for the top, that's definitely the go for. Okay, so with that, we're actually seeing the value. Well, we're going to see the value. Should be super easy for Thrall to get stacks here. Again, not only do you have a 4-man that you can consistently be in, you have the objective in the middle of the map where there is just nothing to soak up these shots, and on top of that you have an additional body in play because of Misha that counts towards that too. So it's a great setup for Thrall. Just in general, the setup that CE running here is insanely nasty. I mean, that's a naughty lineup if I've ever seen one. CC on literally every single hero that is being used by them, and only one nature's cure to deny them all. That's pretty much what we're seeing here. But yeah, let's have a look at that. For the time being, we're still having the commitment at the bot lane, seeing pretty much the same situation topside. both of the teams currently going for one camp. But yeah, the stacking process is going to be sick. It's one of those games where I'm a little bit sad that we can't control the screen, that I can kind of control the screen myself, because I would love to keep track of Thrall stacks there. But yeah, we'll see when he completes that. I'm pretty sure they can complete it, unless of course it's a super rushed game, and CE is likely to try and speedrun this a little bit. But KG has shown against multiple teams now that you shouldn't take them lightly, and CE is definitely not going to do that. So yeah, you can't really count them out. These guys know what they're doing. They might not quite be on the same level as former Korean superstars, but they are definitely good enough to exploit mistakes if you underestimate them and give them an opening there. So with that said, we're currently having, at this point, reset a little bit under pressure here at the bottom of the map, but he gets some company as everybody else is starting to make it in. Lu Fool with the attempt to get another stack for the Crash Lightning. This time it doesn't work out for him, bounces straight into the minions. He's sitting at a single stack right now. It's honestly a little bit disappointing. I would expect that at this point it's already a lot higher on the stacks. Obviously later on that's definitely increasing. I love that our Chinese observer is actually starting to show this a bit more often. It would be great if we could do that around the level 10 mark. That's usually when we have quite interesting numbers there in the early stages. Normally doesn't really matter all that much. Hunter-Gatherer, by the way, taken on level 4 for Rexa. So it's going to rely heavily on those globes. If they win the objective, it's going to speed up that quest completion quite significantly. And Dominance for Li Ming. Again, Charge Blast occasionally is the pick here. Especially when we are looking at players like Maka and a few others in the European side. They are oftentimes going for that talent, but of course the standard still being Dominance allows you to be way more aggressive around your Calamity once that you get it. And it's time for the objective. And especially, of course, the red team has insane tools against that thing. Now Thrall is going to try and get that right now. So there we have it. Unicorn is attempting to delay it, at least for a little bit, the same that we're having from Gonda on the other side. But yeah, CE definitely making the play right now, and they win the Immortal #1. So Thrall is probably still going to try and see if he can maybe get 1 or 2 charges out of the Charge Lightning here. So far not. The Charge Lightning, yeah, sorry, but like the Crash Lightning. There's a little bit too much of that around, already mixing talents and creating new ones. Might have a couple of interesting applications if you're all of a sudden putting something like that into the hands of Li Ming. But in this case, we're still talking Thrall. So push to the top. So far, it's not really a crazy lead or anything like that, but you know that CE is going to take any opportunity you give them to snowball it hard. They're already walking through the wall here to allow Reset to get some extra damage in with Hanzo through the geometry, but also to see if they can maybe jump on someone and deny vision. Nice damage against the fort itself. Not able to take the fountain down though. That's a bit of a problem. Oh, Misha! Ooh! Our little bear here is drunk, but they still get the kill against Thrall. And look at that! Again, KG with the early kill in the game. I like these guys, I really do. They are in a tough spot in this group though. They're in a really tough spot. There's a lot of vision tools also around for CE. And CE isn't even giving up for this. They might not have the same amount of heroes at the top lane, but they're still saying, if you don't pay attention, we're going to drop you anyways. Now, I mean, just look at Johanna and the damage they're pushing on her. Gonda is just juking out all of the Li Ming damage that he can. And yeah, they prevent them from taking the fort. With 3 here, well, the fort too, but the camp. Talking camps, we see that at the bot lane right now, and CE is starting to take over the top side again. Yeah, 4 stacks by now on the Crash Lightning. Lot of quest talents actually here. I mean, so far Hanzo and Garrosh haven't completed their talents yet either. Bot lane, there we have it. Globes claimed by Malf, as they have 7 on their side. But the pressure at the top lane is just starting to mount up even more. They want the fort right now. CE wants the fort, and to be honest, with that heavy of a commitment, they're likely to get it. We saw Garrosh actually on the minimap even make a play for Li Ming that didn't quite work out. But we currently still see Imperius defending the bot lane. And that fort is not going to fall. They're rotating in already as it stands. KG has to move back or they're going to get flanked, they're going to get wrecked. So they're moving back from this as it stands, but it still means that the structural position is going to be better for Team CE. As they're moving in again, there's no level 10s just yet. Gonda would already look to see if he can maybe connect with a good taunt here. So far that's not the case. But now it's again Immortal time. Chiffon is Li Ming is already trying to get some extra damage in. pokes around with the globe. They're going for Rexa again. Indomitable. Will have to be used there too. Nearly get him into the Immortal Stun. The roots were on the ground too. But Garrosh survives for now. Still Hanzo with the damage output over and over again. One salvo after another. And of course, there's a constant poke right now from Aloof full on his Thrall. Has Ancestral Wrath on level 4, so the extra survivability. A bit more poke. Blue team's Immortal is down to 50% again. It's tricky. It's tricky for the blue team right now. They kind of need to make a play here. The problem is also that if you're losing out on this one, could be a level 10 on the horizon too with a push. Comes the throw again. Quest completed for Garrosh here. They're making the play for Misha. Again, the stuns come in, and there's the follow-up against Jimmy. Jimmy isn't down yet, but there comes the kill. Thanks, Thrall, to his flank. Goes in, and they're gonna go for Jojo now. And ooh, she's in trouble. So is Rexa. Ah, triple kill, quad kill. Ah, and they go for the full team wipe. CE mercilessly going in. They get the level 10 abilities halfway through the fight, and then the insta pick on Sundering for Thrall as he shuts down Li Ming, and they get the kill here. Steal the camp away and just start murdering the Immortal here again. Yeah, this is tough. CE with 5 kills against 1, looking fantastic here. Talons taken, not all of them just yet. Still waiting for Imperius. I'm gonna see Wrath. Is it gonna be armament? Wrath would be a lot of fun with the with all of the CC abilities that they have. There's so much crowd control for them. So yeah, this best of 2. So far it looks like CE might get that 2-0 victory that they're looking for. The only one of the top, like actually from the top 5 teams that we talked about earlier, from CE, BTG, The One, Boluo, and yeah, the other team that I just, SPT. We've only seen The One struggle so far, as they lost 1 map against an underdog team, and we've seen obviously Boluo lose against SPT already. Outside of that, all of the favorites have been able to take their games with a 2-0, and CE is eager to do the same here. Starting to go straight in for the bot lane. That Immortal is very likely going to get the fort itself, but the fight is being forced behind it. And here comes the arrow. Connects only with the backline though. Connects with 1. Misha is already down. The lockdown against Imperius is starting to try and go in for maybe another connect there. Can they get the Sun Ring in? And yes, they do. Rexa is dead, and the second and the third kill are going to come in as well. Johanna and Malfurion, they're both going to fall. Malfurion is on the run here. The old man actually a lot more nimble on his feet than I expected, but he's still dying. And that's a 4 eliminated. That's in total now 8 kills against 1. 13 stacks for Thrall, which also means that he's now starting to actually get serious damage in. Obviously still a bit away from completing that quest in the first place, but yeah, they are already looking fantastic here. We are pre-10 minutes, and they are looking at the first keep of the game, and with level 13 talents in their hand, they're not quite yet able to get it, but they're definitely putting some damage onto it. And if Garrosh finds a good connect, they might even get the kill. Reset for a moment, in trouble, but it gets thrown out. Nicely done by Garrosh, saving his teammates, and just look at those hit points fall on the keep itself. Down to 50% HP already. Now they're just slowly and steadily starting to siege up on that. 50% down. Away for the time being. 2 levels ahead. It's like 2 full levels. We're having a 2 full level lead right now. Whew. There again. There's another arrow. And they go in again with the Sundering. But this time at least the trade of Johanna prevents the worst. There's Wrath being used though. And the resets and the kills. Garrosh is dead. The man with the mask, he is down once more, and so is Johanna, the frontline eliminated, as they're starting to go for the healers again. And there's the lockdown with the wolf. Oh, it's tough. KG is up against an insanely strong team. The Korean players have been at the top of the game for just so long, and they still have what it takes here. CE with nearly 3 level of elite now. 11 kills against 1. They are just absolutely murdering here. Now we're actually seeing basically daily games now in this tournament, and we're going to have, of course, all of these teams play again tomorrow as we are going just round robin in this group stage. But it's actually going to be a little bit crazy to see all those top teams go up against each other. And Bono in particular, I mean, we're of course looking to the Swedes, the only European team that we have in the tournament, and they were off to a pretty bad start For the standings, at least, that is. After they took down SBT in the previous rounds, they failed to take a map win against SBT in their first best-of-2 series here in the group stage we're currently in. But they can still definitely take those wins against other teams, but it's going to be a little bit tough for them considering how well some of these guys are playing, and especially CE is currently seeming, I don't want to say undefeated, but that's definitely not the case, but they're very, very coordinated, and they're currently doing a great job in this game as well. So yeah, 11 kills against 1. Already the pressure at the top lane because the keep is already halfway down, and with a halftime showdown nearly 1 down here, they're making another engage into the 5-man. Down goes Liming, no resets for her, and Jimmy is dead as well. They're just snap going for this. The Hanzo arrows, they are absolutely precise, they connect. Thrall gets thrown after Rexa, gets that kill too. And now we're looking at another 3 kills as they take the halftime show and as they take KG's lunch money. Everything here. It's actually insane, to be honest. 14 kills against 1 right now. I mean, just look at the setup again as we're going into... the arrow comes in, connects with 3, Sundering, and I mean, everybody just explodes. Malfurion is trying his best. Garrosh throws Thrall after Rexa as Rexa is trying to run away from this one, but there's obviously no chance at this point anymore. And now with level 16 nearly being in play for CE2, they should be able to get at least a keep out of this. But obviously, especially after watching last game, they're going to look to end here. They're going to see if they can get another arrow out, because the heroic abilities are going to be ready again. Hanzo will have the arrow ready, and play around that. 21 stacks now for Thrall, so you know that his damage is pretty sick at this point. But with this game just being a pretty quick one, he so far didn't have a chance to stack completely. But yeah, here comes the push, and this is really the difficult setup, because the entire setup is now down to the bottom of the map. Where yes, the keep itself hasn't taken damage yet, but the wall is gone. And now they're going to look for another kill. And they're 3 levels ahead, and if they get those kills again, if that Hanzo arrow connects once more, you know they're going for the game itself. Especially, of course, since that Immortal has insane shield points still. Still on ranged mode. In case you weren't aware of it, as long as the Immortal has a shield, he's firing from range. As long as he loses the shield, he's switching into a melee mode. Rexa down, the Go is there, and the core is already about to lose hit points. And who is going to stop this? Again, the Sundering coming out as they're isolating Malfurion. He gets thrown over there too. Down goes Reyna, down goes Malf. The top keep down, the bottom keep down, the core falling. Liming and Johanna both dead. 19 kills against 1. CE once again establishing their dominance here with another 2-0 victory at the gold league.